Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. That is Jack. I am Conrad, and this is the 45 with a look back at the week that what? 5 topics, some funny, some serious, but all things that happened around the Premier League. You know, you should subscribe. You know why? Because it's free, and we're not bad. Give us a shot. Please, subscribe. We appreciate it. Mourinho out. Monday morning, I was a little bit surprised to see him get the sack that quickly, but I just think it had gotten so bad with how he was treating the players and the public, and they were just kind of done with him, and maybe they wanted something to distract from that European stupid league thing. I don't know.
I hated everything about that firing. Honestly, it's like, so you take the man, right? The only man, I believe in the history of humankind, to beat Pep Guardiola in a final. Only man to do it, I think. Maybe I'm just wrong. I think he's the only man to ever do it. And you fire him.
Let's go with it.
5 days before a final. What are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
And then hand the reins to a 29-year-old.
And then the match was today, right, when we're recording this. And it was just they had one shot on target. It
was terrible.
It was like a 4% XG chance. It was literally like 2.89 to like 0.4. It was... It defies
they looked a lot like they did under Mourinho. They didn't look very good at times under Mourinho either.
I mean, look, you cannot tell me that Ryan Mason had a better chance at getting results in their last 2 matches than than Jose Mourinho. And I don't care. What did you expect when you hired Jose Mourinho? Was he going to become all happy to join the winning club that is Tottenham Hotspur? No, he was dealing with a club full of serial losers, and he has to turn it around. And you don't even give him a chance because you fire him. It defies logic. If they make top 4, then I guess it was the correct call, I guess. But they shelled out like £30 million to get rid of this guy. It was a painful decision, if I'm being honest. I think Mourinho's time in club management is done, though. I don't think there's a club out there that has enough players with the mentality needed to work under him. And I think he's had too much failure recently to kind of escape that, because when he was at Madrid, when he was at Chelsea, he had these same things. He was harsh on his players, but he was a winner at Inter as well, at Porto. He was a winner, and they were like, all right, he's the best manager in the world, arguably. I'll let him off because he's going to help us win trophies, which is what he's here for. He hasn't done that as successfully. His first club, he hasn't won a trophy yet. So I think if Portugal need a manager, they don't right now, but if they do need one, United States, throw like $10 million a year and get Jose Mourinho as your manager.
It would not go over well in the MLS.
Oh, it'd be terrible. But imagine him as the national team manager, having to deal with Michael Bradley as the national team captain. That'd be a fascinating.
What happened to Daniel Levy's ear? It looks like you chopped his left ear.
No, that was a photo. That was not my Photoshop. That was the picture, definitely.
So no more Mourinho. Sorry. Norwich and Watford getting promoted. Last week, Norwich's news kind of got buried. They won the championship last week in clinching the promotion. They got lost in all the European Stupid League. And Watford now, today, I think, with their win on first offering, getting promoted. And we have Luis Suarez and Pep Guardiola here. I had to ask, why are they in this slide?
Yeah, well, I mean, Suarez, when he was at Liverpool, I mean, it was just fun. Him scoring. He was scoring, I think he had 4 goals in one match, 3 in another. He scored one goal was like a half volley from like 40 yards out. He loved playing Norwich.
Every time they played Norwich, he scored. Every time.
He's in Spain now, but he's just smiling spiritually that they're back in the Premier League, as are Liverpool. They beat him, I think, 4-0 first match last season. And Watford, I mean, Pep beats him every time. I think every time they've played under Guardiola, they've beaten him. That includes like an FA Cup final here and there. So he's just happy that it's almost like guaranteed 6 points, honestly. So I joke that the big sides are happy. Obviously, these 2 sides are incredibly, incredibly happy. Bounce backs immediately for them. I don't like if it's like almost a closed circuit where it's like you have the same sides coming back up. I like to see fresh faces. But I like Norwich and Watford. They're green and yellow teams. They're different colored teams than what we normally have. So it's like, I'd like if Brentford came up, if Swansea came up, but like white and red. We're used to that. We're used to that. I like the green.
And that's not a typo. We did take the W back away from Watford. Last year, they were, I think, 0 for 11 in their first 11 matches, and we just took their W away.
We couldn't
seem to
couldn't do
find
that with Sheffield United, unfortunately, but we would have done that if they had like a W in their name or something like that.
That was bad. Next up, Ed Woodward. Also a surprise departure. This sounds like of his own doing. Sounds like they're saying it was planned. Hard to believe with the ESL thing taking place. Word was that he was actually in 10 Downing Street talking to, I believe, the chief of staff of 10 Downing Street about the ESL. They said, yeah, it's a great idea. And that emboldened a lot of these clubs to then go ahead and say, yeah, we're going to announce this thing. But he's on his way out. He will be done, I think, at the end of the calendar year, end of the season. Calendar year, right?
Calendar year, yeah. It was definitely a surprise one. I don't really buy he was planning to leave. That's just damage limitation. The dude, I think, was one of the casualties. He was one of the he was one of the masterminds. I think there's this revisionist history happening where it's like, oh, he was against it and he couldn't stand being at the club anymore. Aren't the Glazers part investors in J.P. Morgan? Or they have at least some relation to J.P. Morgan, who are going to be.
Well, they're publicly traded. They may be just banking relationships with them. I don't know.
Relationships of some sort. Shady stuff happening all around. I have Woodward on this is fine because he has to deal with this burning situation for the end of the season. He has to get Ole Gunnar Solskjaer his new recruits. He has to do it all while kind of just being the brunt of all criticism, with the exception of the owners as a little bit. But United fans will be very happy that he's gone now. But I think that it's definitely a interesting where they go from here because they could definitely get someone much worse than him. He's a very good business mind, terrible football mind. So if they get someone more football-oriented, it could be good for them.
Yeah, I just think he was ill-suited to the job that he was doing. Commercially, I think quite successful, to your point.
Yeah, right? If he was moved to like I don't know if they have a chief financial officer or something like that. If he was just
chief commercial officer,
something like that, just getting him to use his great commercial abilities to help the club, but keeping him off of the transfers because he had some stinkers.
Speaking of stinkers, hashtag Murica out. The 3 owners of 6 of the clubs that were part of the European Stupid League, Kroenke, Glazer, and John Henry. Much of the ire focused on those 3 for being really wanting to recreate what the NFL or the NBA is, which is this closed league that you kind of alluded to earlier when you talk about Norwich and Watford. But there's no risk in losing in the NBA, Major League Baseball, National Hockey League, National Football League. So your mentality as an owner, these clubs are worth billions and billions of dollars. In order for you to actually lose a club, you have to be a truly morally reprehensible human being like Donald Sterling, who effectively had the Los Angeles Clippers NBA team taken away from him because he was a terrible, terrible person.
Yeah.
But he got $2.2 billion in doing so, right, for just being horrible.
I mean,
nobody in England likes these guys right now. Yeah. And we're fans of English football, proper football, and John Henry happens to own the club that I grew up rooting for, Boston Red Sox, as well as Liverpool. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate what he has done as an owner for the Red Sox, and certainly up until this point, what he had done for Liverpool has been nothing short of amazing. Premier League title, Champions League final, Champions League title.
Yeah, I mean, he equipped them to do that. They took him from the brink of financial ruin and pushed them
Tom Hicks, another American.
Pushed him to be in a very comfortable financial position. Rumors that there was a £3 billion bid placed for Liverpool from a I don't know if it was an individual or like a consortium in the Middle East, and it's fascinating because that's a lot of dough. You'd be making $2.7 billion on your investment when you first bought Liverpool, and it's just so fascinating that how. I'll go back to January when Liverpool had their major center back crisis. Didn't have Matip, Gomez, or Van Dijk for the rest of the season. They knew that in January, and they had all of January to try and find a replacement until Matip got injured for the rest of the season, and then it was like, okay, we really need someone to come in. I have to imagine that John Henry was thinking, well, we're planning to have the Super League next year. Doesn't matter if we don't finish in the top 4 in the Premier League. We can kind of just cruise to the end of the season, bring in that J.P. Morgan dough, and then we're fine. I can imagine that's something that happened. And that is why the Super League was so terrible. Because teams could be competitively lazy. They could be financially selfish and against spirit of competition. And Super League, just dumb. Stupid league. And these owners, will they leave? I mean, no. Let's be honest. I mean, they're not going to leave. You see that the $2 billion stolen flag that was flown during the Leeds match today. They'll look at that sign and they'll say, yeah, that's why I'm keeping the club, because I got $2 billion out of it. I mean, yeah, it sucks that they're siphoning money out of this great sport, but, I mean, realistically, who is getting them out of their positions? I cannot see who could. And so it's just going to be a case of, I think they got a shiny toy syndrome. Go sign Mbappe if you're John Henry. Go bring in Haaland if you're the Glazers. Go sign anybody if you're Arsenal.
Please. Someone help Arteta out.
From somebody. I would be stunned if even one of the clubs is sold, if I'm being honest. But after the Super League fiasco, they're just the inevitable, I think, financial hit they'll have from the clubs or from the Premier League. I can imagine they'll be punished even more directly than the club will. So I'm really excited to see where this goes. Not excited, I'm interested to see where it goes, because this ugly chapter is hopefully coming to a conclusion. But if we're being honest, those clubs are still going to be there. The contract is still on the table, so this discussion is not going away anytime soon.
And we're still going to talk about it. The European Stupid League. So 1 week ago, we sat here and talked about, this news was breaking at the time, that these 6 Premier League clubs, the 3 Italian clubs, and the 3 Spanish sides were going to break away, create this European Super League, bring in additional 3 clubs, then have 5 clubs that would just make up the bottom part of the table so nobody has to look really, really bad. But it's over.
Let's be honest, though, right? If Arsenal were in that league and there were still 5 teams, like an Ajax, maybe like a 5th place team in England, would they still
be kicking Arsenal's butt?
Would they be better than 20th? Anyways, continue.
Probably not. Supporters won, right? We all won. It's amazing the power that came from that and the pressure, and it just looked. It was such a bad look for all. I mean, the Spanish and the Italian sides don't seem to care. They don't have the same. The atmosphere around proper football is not the same as it is in England, right? You grow up around these communities and you root for the side no matter what, and through promotion, through relegation, and there's risk, and the clubs aren't quite as valuable, right? They're more bootstrapped in a lot of cases, but what I'm really, really curious about is, how do they punish? We talked about it in the other show about, do they dock points? There's talk of 6 points, 8 points being taken away from each of the 6 Premier League clubs. I don't know that you go after the performers on the field, because those players and the coaches, they weren't the ones that did this, right?
Yeah.
It's these 4 guys that we just had up there. You got to fine them big time. Mm-hmm. Like, is that enough? Like 20 million, 50 million? Like, what's a number that's going to be punitive to the club but not hurt the performance on the field? Because I think you can't penalize the players or the coaches and managers. I don't think.
Go to those owners and say, all right, boys, give me $10 million each. We're throwing that to the EFL, and we're giving it to the lower league sides, because you tried to screw over the football pyramid. We're going to take money.
That.
We're going to throw it down the pyramid. Will that happen? I don't know if it could.
It's not enough. I don't know if it's got to be more than $10 million a club.
Do they have the jurisdiction to do that? I have no idea.
No idea.
I mentioned in the other show, I'll make it more brief. Wigan, 12-point deduction because of administration. Ownership ineptitude, punish the players. How is this different? So I'm really back and forth on what I want to see. But fundamentally, what this did show is we did win. We said, no, this crap can't be pulled over our heads. We're not going to have to we don't want to watch a Premier League. We have these big 6 sides. We don't want to watch a Premier League where there's no punishment for losing, because you'll be in an elite competition next year. We don't want to watch Barcelona versus Liverpool every year for the next 23 years.
Takes away the mystique.
Exactly.
Takes away the mystique.
Can't have Christmas every day. We proved that by the protests, and credit to everyone who had the energy to do it. I hope the energy is maintained for the crappy new UEFA system. I hope it's maintained for when issues like racism continue to pop up. I'm seeing
that's where it needs to be focused.
Social media boycott.
100%.
I'm interested in how that social media boycott is going to turn out. That's a discussion for another day, though. So much fan power exists, and we've just begun to tap into it. And if we're able to maintain that, I don't think, honestly, we're able to. I think there's just too much division. It's already starting. The Glazer out movement is weakening because there are people looking at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as well. So, but I think we take our victories when we can, and our big victory was we get to say this in front of the grave of the Super League, at least the Super League in the format that it was. They're probably going to rebrand it, say, the continental Europe of great teams that also include Arsenal and Tottenham, and maybe add relegation, and then maybe people will be happy again.
I don't know what you need another competition for. They're just trying to find ways to disrupt the TV deals, and I mean, there's so much that has yet to come out of this in terms of the owners that were in the TV negotiations have that information as they're negotiating this European Super League. The money that's coming in from J.P. Morgan now. Florentino is saying, no, if you guys can't back out, you signed a binding contract. Who knows what's going to happen?
Like,
it is
he was
far from over.
They're going to fine each club 300 million euros so they were going to get paid. Who's that money going to? Is this just a long game play by Florentino to get 300 million from every Premier League club so he can go buy Mbappe and Haaland?
I think he's got a safe face here because his reputation was, I probably heard the most.
Yeah, he went out there on Sunday night and said, all right, we're doing this thing. Like it's happening. And then it blew up in his face less than 48 hours later. And then he had to save face again.
But he's not giving up, which is astonishing. Maybe the pressure there isn't what it is in England. I don't know.
I mean, honestly, there's much less the TV deals in Spain are much more lenient, or they way more heavily for the bigger sides, and that's led to more disparity. And so their league, they're not a guaranteed top.
It's kind of a closed league already.
But it's like they don't really have as much competition in terms of financial resources from the lower league sides compared to the Premier League. So they were fine with leaving that behind to get more money, more eyes on their product. Same with Italy, I think. That Juventus already have a really bad relationship with Serie A after their match-fixing scandal in the mid-late 2000s. So I think it's going to be fascinating that there could still be a Super League, just maybe without the Premier League sides.
We shall see. That'll do it for us for the week that what? Jack, Conrad, this has been the 45. Please subscribe, like, comment, let us know what you think. Look for us on the Twitter at the 45. Take care now.